Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to issue 99 and also, finally, 100 of Build the Terminator.
The Terminator, week by week, built the T-800, the killing machine that defined a generation. Easy to build with high-quality metal components. You can control sound, lights, articulated limbs, and LED eyes, and explore the Terminator universe. Build the Terminator, issue 1, just $1.99.
So welcome back everyone, and finally today, 1st of March 2021, we have hit the 100 mark, and today I'm really excited because I'm going to be completing the right leg, which means all limbs will be complete. It won't be attached though in these issues because there's one screw that you've got to screw in at the end on issue 101, which I have up to 102. So I'm going to be showing that today. It's the last two toes because I've done 3 already. Last 2 toes and a few accessories for the lower leg, the shin, different accessories and whatnot. So I'm just going to quickly show you. There's not too much to do, just fiddly bits really. So there's issue 99. So a few bits to do there. And then also assembling, like I said, the foot and sorry, the left leg, not the right leg. So a few accessories there. Obviously I'm going to show you the pieces I work on before. I'm only going to film one toe though, because as before in the other videos we've just done recently, it's the same thing for making the toe. So I'll make one toe, then I'll move on. So let's get started. Right, so as you can see there are quite a few components to be working with today, in fact. So we're going to start from issue 99. So we've got the left shin piece, that's plastic. Then you've got the lower leg part, again another plastic component. Then you'll see here we've got the toe, so another one of the toes. These are the metal components with the metal parts that go onto here, so obviously the toes are all metal. This section here, this is just the trims for the shin piece. So again, they're plastic. I've kept all the screws and whatnot in the bags today because I don't want to lose them, because these are quite essential components. So I've got, in this one here, I've got the grub screws, and I've also got the plastic tubes for what you need for connecting up the toes, and also pins. And in this one I've got, I believe, what screws do I have here? So I've got two 2x16mm KM screws, which you need, and 2 of the 3x8mm PM screws. So that's those components there. So for issue 100, first of all we've got the, I believe this is the lower left connectors. So they're the connectors for the leg. And then moving over, we've got another lower leg part, again being plastic. Another toe there. So obviously that's the final toe we're working on with all the toe accessories. These 2 sections here, so these are plastic, and the bigger one, 101, that's the cap for the lower leg. And the smaller one is, let me double check, that's also another cap for the lower leg. So those are those parts there. These very long screws here, they're listed as 109. They're the long grub screws, and also there's 2 small ones in there as well. You've got some washers and also some more plastic tubes, obviously for the toes. Some metal washers, which are, I believe, 117. So they are the 2 spring ones. Then the bigger screws here, these are the, let me double check for you guys because it's quite a lot. I believe these are the 2x5mm PWM screws with 1 spare, and you've also got the KM screws 2x60mm and the PM 3x12mm. So a lot of screws, but it will say in your book, if you're not sure to reference. You also need, of course, the accessories from the last issues. So these are the parts we worked on before for the leg. So you need these components. Obviously you need the foot because we're going to be connecting up the toes. The joint pins from the previous issue as well. And Allen keys, screwdrivers, super glue. Good to go. Okay, so steps 1 to 6, working on the toe. So just so you know, this toe is actually shorter, flanges as they're called, if you may be familiar with that name in science. With these ones, you're actually going to be working, ensuring that the numbers, so you'll see there are numbers on there. On the previous toes, they've had to be facing down when we work with them, but these ones need to be facing upwards. So remember, when you're doing that, to have them upwards. And you also need to make sure that you've got the correct ones in order how you want them. So taking both parts, and you'll see that the section here, this one has no raised ridge in the middle opposed to that one. So that one is going to go at the bottom, like so. That will slide in there. You're going to take component 99.7, so that's just the toe connector, and that will hook those two up together. So I'm just going to grab that, and then double check that one's in the right position. So spin that round. Like I said, make sure those numbers are facing upwards. Okay, so to make it a bit more simple, just obviously just do one at a time like that. So put the toe connector over there, and then what you're going to do, you're going to grab one of the grub screws with the Allen key, and you're going to actually secure those two together with that grub screw. So I'm just going to line that back up. So I've done this before, but I'm just going to show you again, because it's a little bit fiddly. And like I said, as these ones are shorter, the numbers have to be up. So it's a quite specific way that the toes had to be, and you'll see that in the next issue with where they need to be aligned up to connect to the foot properly. So I did have a request to film in a different manner, like an overhead view, so like me looking directly down. But unfortunately, with my setup in my office, I can't do that. So it's the first request I've had since making these videos in 2 years basically. So when I move, I'll change the setup so I'll be able to do that. But until then, the Terminator will stay like this, as will the Iron Man ones. So hopefully you can see enough. I zoom in anyway, so you can see bits and bobs. Okay, so that's how it's looking now that it's connected up. So once you've done that, you're going to flip it over so you can't see the numbers. So the toe wants to be faced like that. You're going to take the other part of the toe and make sure, like I said, the numbers aren't showing. You're going to hook that over, so from the smallest end, so the smaller part here will go over there, and that will line up. Once you've got that, you need to take the plastic sleeve and one of the foot joints and connect those two up. So I'm just going to grab those parts now. Okay, so just that little plastic sleeve there and that joint pin there, or the toe pins. So remember, we've got that in the other issue, that's what you need. So just going to go from above, it looks like, yep. So I'm going to thread that through from the top, push that pin through, and that will seal those two together nicely. So that's how that looks. They're connected. So next part, we're going to be taking the end of the toe. So that's 99.6, that component there. You're just going to pop that on the end, thread it through. So you don't have to worry about what way that goes around. Sorry, my mistake. You do, the numbers facing up. So obviously, because I've got it spun round, make sure all the numbers are facing up in the right way on all sections. And again, just to secure those two, you're going to need another plastic tube and another plastic pin to connect those up. Once you've done that, that is that part complete. So nice and simple. Just be careful of the plastic tube, because if you put too much force on it, they're not so great. They don't always connect up well or go all the way through. So that one's done okay. Not being too much of an issue. So I'm just pushing that through now. And that's how it looks. So when viewed from above, obviously that's how it needs to be looking. Spin it around that way. So that's steps 1 to 6 complete. Right guys and girls, steps 7 to 12. So we're now moving on the lower leg assembly. So you need to take component 971. This is obviously from issue 98. So we worked on that recently. What you're going to do, you need to spin it round, and this part here needs to be facing upwards and outwards like that, because this component here, so that's 99.2, that's the new plastic leg component, that's actually going to be popped into there. So obviously you want to have it from that end because you're going to screw it into that section there. So you need to take the KM 2x16mm screw, which is the long one, and you're going to thread that through the screw socket. So that's that one there. So you just thread that through, and that's what's going to connect those two up. So obviously that's going to be screwed from the back. So I'm just going to line that up again and connect those two together. Try not to lose it. It's quite a long screw, so you're going to be screwing for quite a while. But yeah, just try not to do it diagonally. Make sure it goes in nice and straight, and not to over tighten it. So there, that's that connected there. Then the next part, you're going to be taking the component 98.1, so that's the leg casing. And what you're going to do, within there, there's that ridge at the top. That's going to line up with this part when you slide it through. So you'll see there, that's where you're going to thread that through, and those two will just sit in nice and snug together. I'm just going to put that through. Okay, so once you've done that, you're going to spin it round, making sure it doesn't fall out. And what we're going to do, you're going to take the shin piece, so that's 99.1, and you'll see there are holes here where this will slot in. So you literally just slide it on. That's actually going to fuse those two together as well, so make it a bit more firm. So it needs to thread through. There's a hole, move out of the way. So this hole here on this part of the muscle, that's going to thread straight through there. So I'm just going to push that through. So you see that's now on there. And then once you've done that, so you lay it down, and then what you'll see, the hole on the other side there, what we're going to do, we're going to take one of the fatter screws, so that's the PM 3x8mm screw, and you're going to put that in there to secure those parts together. So the shin plate on the front will be connected to the inner parts of the lower leg muscles. So I'm just screwing that in. This is steps 13 to 15, by the way. These are the last 3 steps. So after this, we just got to super glue on the little trims, the triangular trims on the front of the shin plate with super glue, and that's it. So you can see that that's all now nice and secure. So we're going to spin it around, and you'll see here these are the triangular parts where you need to put on those trims. So all you're going to do, there's a little pegs on there, just going to super glue those on, so they're just the little details, and that will be issue 99 complete. So I'm just going to get some glue. So this is a nice easy part. Glue those on, and then we're done. Hold that down for a second. Okay, that's the first one. Just going to spin around and do the second one. And then that's the second one on there. So that's how it's looking on both sides with the toe. And that is issue 99 complete. Right, welcome back. So issue 100. As you can see, I've got my Terminator here laid out ready, because we're going to be fitting on the lower legs soon. So, but before we do that, I've done the last toe. One thing to note with it, where in the last issue you had to have the numbers facing up, on this one, you, like all the others before, you had to have the numbers facing down when you work with that. So if you go back to a couple of other videos, you'll see how I did the toes before for both feet. So I haven't filmed that bit, but you know what to do there. So what you want to do now, you're going to have them in line like so. So I've got number 1 here all the way across to number 5. So that's how they should be looking from that perspective. So that's how they're all looking faced up. So you can see they're all perfectly fine, and that's how they should be. So what you want to do now, taking the heel assembly, what we're going to do, we're going to thread the toes onto that part there. So obviously we're going to start from number 1 from your left. So the toe must be facing down. So obviously we can use the bottom part there. So you thread that through, and then you want to have it up like that. So that's how they need to be looking all the way along until we get to the last one. So I'm just going to do that now, one at a time. Some will feel a bit tighter than the others to get on, so, but whatever you do, don't force it. Be gentle. So what I've done, I've actually thread the grub screw as the long one all the way through partially on each part, because you may find that the toes just keep wanting to move out of place and it's a bit of a faff. So rather than do that, I've just put the grub screw in partially after each toe. Okay guys and girls, I made a little error, just going to correct it. So I actually put all the toes on the top part, and that's where you need to fold it over. So I had to take all of it off and do it all again. So now I can actually fold them over and put them into place how they should be. So I can put the final grub screw in. So I'm just going to align the toes now, and I'll get the grub screw in, and then yeah, get cracking from there really, because that was a bit of a pain and it actually wasted a lot of my time, to be honest. So yeah, that wasn't fun. Just to line these up now. So I'm going to line a couple up, and then I'll come back on when it's complete. So I'll just come off the camera for that part, just so you don't see the same bit again. Okay, so after a bit of faffing around, made a few errors. That is the left foot now complete. So you can put that to one side for the moment. All the toes been attached to the heel, so now we're going to move back onto the lower left leg. And what we're going to do is take component 102, that's that plastic part there, and we're going to take both of those caps. So the obviously the larger one's going to go on the wider side, so you're going to push those through. That's component 101 and 103. Then once you've done that, you're going to thread it through the final hole of this section here. So I'm just going to double check if it's a smaller hole. Yeah, it's a smaller hole that goes through there. And like last time, you need to take one of your screw sockets, and also the longest screw, which is the KM 2x16mm. Just going to thread that through, and like before, we're just going to secure those two together by screwing them together. So nice and simple. So it's finally coming together now, we're nearly there. Going to be attaching it to the leg shortly. So I'll just get this bit in place. Okay, so the final steps here, steps 11 to 15. So you can see I've got my Terminator facing face down, and that's how you want him. So you'll see here at the end there's a pin there, and that's where we're going to connect up this lower leg part to that. So what you need first of all, make sure you take one of your PM screws, and that's the let me double check, the 3x12mm, and you're going to put a little metal washer over that, the spring washer, and that's what you're going to use to secure those two together. So in the middle of this part here, you won't be able to see it really, there's a hole there, so that's where that's going to slot on. So I'm just going to pop that on now, making sure that all these parts are in the right way. So make sure that this part is facing upwards. Okay, so that just slots on like so. I'm going to take my screwdriver, and this is the tricky part, trying to see what I'm doing with all these accessories in the way. Okay, that's all lined up. I'm just screwing that in now to secure it, and then the next steps will be taking the plastic parts which we cut off from the frame, so that's the A and B, and we'll be putting those through the muscles themselves. I'm just double checking that's nice and tight, because it needs to hold quite a bit of weight, and this is plastic, this part. It's going to be carrying a heavy metal foot. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so what we're going to do with these two plastic parts, we're going to pop on a washer, a plastic one on the end of each of those two. So they're the shorter ones, by the way, just so you know. And then you're going to take one of the PWM 2x5mm screws, that's the little black ones, and you're going to secure those on. So these are components 104, but they are B. The larger one is 104, and that is component A. So that's the first one. Let's do the second one quickly. Okay, and once those washers are on the end, you're going to put those through the muscle connectors. So there are the two on the side without the cap. Just going to slide those through. Like so, and then the other larger one, this is the one that's actually going to go through the cap. So that just goes through there, like so. And that is issue 100 complete. So everyone, thanks for watching today's episode. Took a little bit longer than expected, but nonetheless we are finished. And as you can see, the left foot and heel have all been connected up, and also the lower leg has been completed. So in the next issues, issue 101, 102, they're the last ones I have. I'm finally going to collect up that foot. So there's a few parts to do. So it's just one little screw we're going to need to complete that foot and get it attached to the leg. And then we're actually working finally on the upper body and the chest plate. We're also going to be working on the head, and we haven't actually worked on the head since I think like October 2019. I think it was like issue 22 or 23, something like that. So it's been quite a while, because we're now on 102 and we're only just working on the head again. So there's just a few little details for the head and some more parts there for the chest plate. Now I've checked the chest plate is plastic. I'm not very happy about that, as I know some other builders are, but we'll see how it looks when it comes together. I'm gonna do a little bit of a video and a photo shoot for him as well, because he's really starting to come together now before it's finished. Just gonna, once the next parts are connected on the chest plate and whatnot, I'm gonna stand him up with the guns and the bullets, and you can see how it's looking there. It's looking really cool, I imagine, and I can't wait to show you guys. So guys, if you did like today's video, as always, please remember to give it a like, a comment and subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you soon.